And so we come to the close of our podcast. Record predictions.
Oh, no.
What do you think the Panthers will go?
I really think the Panthers, at best, I really don't think they do better than 8-8, to be honest with you. They, like I was saying, they have a lot of potential. They did bring in a lot of depth, a lot of different things, but I think they could be that last playoff team and make a good push if Teddy Bridgewater comes in and does his job. But at the end of the day, it's kind of unlikely in comparison to everything else that's happening in their division.
And that's best case scenario, right?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
best case scenario.
Okay. So what I predict them going is probably 6-10 because I think Teddy Bridgewater is a good quarterback. So I'm gonna give them that. And I just don't think they did enough with the offensive line to improve massively. So I give them one extra win. But I agree. They have potential to be 8-8. I think that's their max though.
Yeah, definitely.
Falcons.
See, you're a little bit higher on the Falcons than I am. I do think they have like a decent amount, but again, it's like you look at what they did in the offseason, you're just questioning everything they do. Obviously, we're not professionals. We're not like those guys in the war room.
Yeah, we're not sports analysts, are we?
Yeah, so you kind of have to think maybe they know something we don't. Maybe they know what was going on. Maybe they were like, we know Todd Gurley can come in here and be that absolute guy. I really don't. I think 9-7, 10-6,
Best
maybe.
potential.
At max.
I don't even think I would give them 10-6 because they've got such a tough schedule.
Yeah,
But I just don't see them it's hard for me to give them a terrible losing record too.
yeah,
So like 7-9 is the worst case. Like this team I feel like has a really tight range, and with such a tough strength of schedule, they're going to pull out wins that they shouldn't because of the talent that they have. And they can win against any team on any given Sunday. And it really just depends on health of some players and whether or not that they make the right steps forward with this team. If the linemen progress forward, if Todd Gurley works out, and if it does happen, 9-7 is max, 7-9 is worst case.
Yeah.
Saints.
So with the Saints, I kind of, again, it's kind of one of those things where you look at their schedule like last season and this season, kind of compare them a little bit, and then you're like, well, they do have a harder time against. They're gonna have a harder time against the Bucs. Obviously, there's no way the Bucs just come in like to your town and you just roll over them with all the talent that they got. And it's kind of the same way with the Falcons. They acquired some guys, so it's gonna be a pretty tough game regardless. So I mean, the Saints have all the potential in the world to be 13-3 again. To do that, because you're gonna have your random losses. It's almost impossible for a team to go 16-0 in the regular season. It's only happened twice, I think.
Yeah.
The Dolphins and the Patriots once. So it's kind of like you're gonna have your random losses. Like it's gonna happen. They're gonna have an off day. Drew Brees is not gonna throw the best game of his life. Their defense is gonna give some stuff up. So I think probably like around 13-3, 12-4 kind of area at max. But at worst, I don't think they win any less than 10. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think they lose. I don't think they win any less than 10. I don't think they win any more than probably 12. I think they have a really tight range too because of the Bucs coming into town and just the fact that we don't know with the team chemistry thing and if Drew Brees is going to be fine. He is a little bit older, but I agree with you. 10-6, 12-4. That's the range. Buccaneers.
Yeah. So with the Bucs, it's kind of, again, they have literally unlimited potential. So they could be anywhere from, honestly, I think they could be a 15-win team out of nowhere. And you're like, wow, this is crazy. Like the Bucs just really turned it around from 7-9 to 15 wins. Because as you said, last season, they were in almost every game they played. There's they did have a couple of losses that were pretty bad, but a lot of the games they were in till the last minute, and they had everything going for them. So I think with these additions that they made, kind of moving things around a little bit, I think Bruce Arians and them could go like 15-1, like have 15 wins. But again, as I said in the last podcast, it doesn't. Again, I know that Brady and Gronk have played together a lot in the past, but just because you bring in talent, just because you surround someone with talent and you bring all this talent onto one single team, doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to work. Like we said in the last podcast, you look at the Browns. A lot of people thought they were going to the Super Bowl, a lot of Browns fans, and then they got their break beat off of them, and they were like, okay, we need to take a step back and kind of look and see, hey, look, this thing happened. So, I mean, I know we keep saying they have all the potential in the world, but they also, just because you bring in people doesn't necessarily mean you're going to win games and win games and win games.
Yeah.
I don't see them losing a lot, but I mean, I don't see them losing or winning any less than 10, 11 games.
Yeah, I feel like this team has the biggest range because I don't personally feel like Tom Brady is going downhill.
Yeah, no.
But I will give myself the margin of error anyways and say that their worst case scenario is 8-8 and their best case scenario is 16-0. Like this team has the potential to be great. And we haven't seen this since probably like Peyton Manning, but we didn't even really going to the the Broncos.
Yeah.
But we didn't even know that he had
what he
stellar
had.
talent there anyways. Like he made those guys. This is already established talent coming in, and they're gonna just dominate.
Yeah, so you're kind of looking at as we kind of alluded to earlier, like the Greatest Show on Turf with Kurt Warner and them. You're kind of looking at a situation where they could literally go in and absolutely dominate everyone in the league, but you could also have just kind of a thing where they had like with Joe Flacco going to Denver. Everyone was like, Joe Flacco could go there and kind of be what Peyton Manning was and kind of light a fire into this team and start going somewhere. And then he just absolutely busts and it just doesn't go anywhere. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't think Tom Brady's going to be an absolute bust because, as you said, I don't think he's declining necessarily. Like everyone, of course, declines a little bit. And again, as we said earlier, you can decline from 1 million and still be 999,000. So, like, that's technically a decline, but it's still stellar numbers. So, I mean, I really think Tom Brady has all the potential in the world to win a whole lot of games. But I also think that, as I said, you could bring in all the talent in the world and then just be the Browns.
Yeah, and to go off of Tom Brady for a little bit, he and his ability to adapt to a new system, he's had 4 different offensive coordinators, Charlie Weiss, Josh McDaniels. There was a time where he didn't have a coordinator, so I'm just going to chalk that up as the 3rd coordinator, and then Bill O'Brien.
Yep.
And all of them had different systems, different schemes.
Yeah.
And we'll see how well he does. They were all very similar to each other, but I feel like he's going to be able to adapt just fine, and they're going to be okay with whatever system that they decide to create, and they're going to just be scary.
Yeah.
Every team's going to be scared of them every game. Even if they start losing, they're still going to be scared that the GOAT's on the other side.
Yeah, I really I hate to call Tom Brady the GOAT because, again, it's like different eras. You're playing in different eras. So, like, Joe Montana could arguably be better because if he'd had the protection Tom Brady does and not being able to be hitting things. But I really think one of the arguments for Tom Brady being the GOAT is that he's a really adaptive player. Like, he can, like you said, he's had so many different coordinators, and of course they're playing under Belichick, so they're going to kind of morph their thing to what Bill Belichick wants. But Tom Brady is a really adaptive player, and he can kind of do what he needs to do to make things happen, and he kind of brings guys together, and he's a smart guy. So, like, he can teach guys. Even say you could bring in a guy off the street, honestly, and that was kind of a joke a few years ago that the Patriots could bring a guy off the street, a random dude who's never played football in his entire life. If he can run a route, if he can learn to run a route, Tom Brady can teach him. So I really think that, especially having such great talent around him, I say great, but they're really good. They're really good. Receivers, backs, even offensive line who can freaking hold people for 20 minutes with Jameis Winston back there. So again, Tom Brady can come in there and just light things up because, again, he's adaptive. He can mold to a new system. I don't think they're going to change what he's done in the past a whole lot. Like I think Bruce Arians is kind of going to change his offense a little bit to kind of mold more to Tom Brady. Obviously, he's not going to change the whole thing because then you kind of screw over your guys who've been there for a long time and they know your system and what they have to do. But I do think he's going to kind of morph how they run it and what certain plays they run. So,
yeah. And do you have anything else to? Do you have anything?
I think that's it. I just really, again, as I said in the first podcast, I'm really excited for even the NFC. Like I'm not a big NFC guy because obviously we support teams in the AFC, the Bengals or whatever. But I think the NFC is going to be real competitive with Saints, Bucks, Seattle, 49ers, the Rams. I do think the Rams have a chance to be a little bit of a kind of a sleeper a little bit. So
bounce back.
Yeah, a little bounce back. The Eagles, the Cowboys, all of those teams.
Packers,
they all,
Vikings.
Like I think the NFC is becoming the more competitive division, more out there division with a little bit of Tom Brady moving because now it's not the Patriots and the Chiefs kind of thing going back and forth with the Ravens a little bit. It's more of just an open kind of thing. So
yeah,